everybody, it's Winston here with a Balasong review. Yes, indeed, it is the Benchmade. Oh, but what Benchmade, you might ask? The 63. This is actually, we'll get to my thoughts later. Here, let's show you the knife first. All right, this is the box it comes in, the typical Benchmade box with has sort of it's almost like a surrounded little package here. There we go. And inside we have the Benchmade inside of the sheath. It will come with the sheath and it will come with paperwork. Mine is not in there because, well, let's face it, I've had this for about two and a half months now. And anyway, so this is the overall look of the sheath. You can, of course, you can have it the vertical or the horizontal on your belt, which I've always thought that was cool. You can like have it on your back hip, and then you could be like a ninja, just be like, whoa, pow, 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 and, impress everybody. Unless you're in public, I do not recommend that. Do not do it in public. You will get in huge trouble, especially if you live in any of the states where the Balasong is restricted. So anyway. The typical sheath, really nice. I thought they really do well on these sheaths. I may actually get one for my 51, which I'll do a review of my blue 51 Morpho after this one, and so maybe about a week or so before I do that, but just give me some time to flip it, get used to it, and I'll go ahead and do a review on that one as well. Alright, now let's open it up, and inside you have the knife itself. The infamous 60 series Balasong from Benchmade. Alright, well, let's start off with a description. It is 9.2 inches long, and with a 4 1/4 inch blade and a 4.875 inch handles. The overall closed length, I do not have that with me right now, but I'll probably get it at some point. Anyway, its weight. Let's go ahead and let's talk about its weight. It weighs a whopping 6.39 ounces. This thing is a beast. It weighs a ton. I'm not gonna lie. I've flipped heavy Balasongs like my Jaguar, like my Pacifica, and my what else? My milled Jaguar. I've flipped some seriously heavy stuff. This thing, on the other hand, is just ridiculously heavy. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love it. I personally like it, but some people really don't like those heavy knives. Anyway, all right, and let's see. It's the sandwich construction with the steel spacers, as you can see, with these stainless steel spacers. Of course, the handles are stainless steel, and it has a Zen pin construction, as you can see. See, and for those of you who do not know how Zen pins work, you see this little knob right here? Alright, there's that little knob right there, and there are two pins in here. You can see where they kind of fit in. Right here, see how they kind of clamp down on that? You'll see it stop right there. You see, the reason why I love Zen pins so much is because they preserve the blade and the handles beautifully. They're by far one of my favorite styles of Balasong is the Zen pin style. And as you can see, this little knob up here, you open it up, they'll catch on that little knob, like so. And then it's opened like that. You see, and another reason why I like the Zen pin construction is because it will last you an extremely long time. I mean, the 51 series, it's hard to beat Zen pins, but the only con about Zen pins is they're a little bouncy. Just a pinch. Not too much, in my opinion. I mean, my reflexes are pretty quick, so whenever it gets in my hand, I can really clamp down on it, but Some people don't like the Zen pins, and you know what? I'm totally cool with that. I like them, but that's okay. Anyway, it has the Bowie blade on it. Really nice. It had a wicked point on it whenever I first got it, but as you can see, I dropped it and it chipped off. Oh no. Yeah, it kind of freaked out. I was actually losing it whenever that happened. I was really upset. But anyway, it has the steel T-latch, which I don't know. At first, I thought it looked a little flimsy. I thought it was not going to hold up very well, but it has held its own. I won't lie. It really has. It has held its own. Of course, in order to remove the latch, you have to totally take apart this handle. It will not come apart otherwise. You have to remove this pin, and this pin, pull it off, and then pull that little pin off, and then. Of course, you have it. As always, Benchmade is impressive when it comes to their locking capabilities. It locks in really tight. I mean, like you don't understand how tight this is. If I close it, and then I put it like that, you can feel that vibration of how it's just so tight. It really is. It's a very tight lockup, and it's a very long-lasting lockup, very trustworthy lockup. I mean, you're not gonna get that open unless you want it open. It's very nice. I like this. I like this T-latch style. The only thing I have wrong with it is if I'm worried if it hits just right that little rod there will snap, which I haven't heard of it happening yet. But I'm gonna keep my ear to the ground, and if it does become a serious problem, I'll go ahead and have that little T-latch removed. But otherwise, yes, a very, 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 very impressive knife by most means. It's very nice. Very, very good materials used for it. Let me see. All right, that's the overall. That is the overall outlay of the knife. Anyway, all right, so let's go on to the pros. Let's go to the pros. These blades, when they come out of the box, they are wicked sharp. Like, oh, here's my little reflection. Hello. Anyway, they are wicked sharp. They are just ugly sharp, and I mean, you gotta be careful because they will get you. But anyway, like I said, they have the wicked tip on them. My tip is gone, and so is my blade. We'll get on to why my blade is gone later. But anyway, the pros, like I said, in my opinion, the Zen pin construction, really nice. More pros, it is just so well balanced. It's almost not even funny. It really is. It is incredibly balanced to flip. I love it. I don't know how they got those spacers to really take the weight, but they did. They compensate for the blade, and it balances really well, surprisingly. For rollovers, it's great. I love it for rollovers. But anyway, for some people, it may not be that easy, and we'll get to that later. But for rollovers, for like thumb rollovers and thumb chaplains, it's a really nice knife. It carries momentum extremely well, which is expected for a well-balanced heavy ballast song. It builds up. It builds up that momentum, and it's really easy to keep going. But anyway, what else? More pros. Let me see. These how would you put it? The milled, I guess. No, I'm not sure what you'd call it, but the design on this handle. Of course, it's very 42-esque. Everyone says it's very, and everyone says it kind of feels like it. But anyway, very, very nice. It's not too grippy, but it's not too loose. You can still slide your hand across it pretty well, and you can really dig in, and it'll catch into one of those holes, which is pretty good. I like that a lot. But anyway, yeah, those are that is the pros I have for this knife. All right. Now for the good part, the cons. The cons with this knife. Where do I start? The cons with this knife. It's really short. These handles are not right short. Okay, so the way it works is you want to be able, if you're twirling, if you're fanning, you want to be able to have a little bit of clearance between your hand, your index and thumb, and the blade itself, like the bottom of the blade, like right here where the action is. You want to be able to have that and to have it twist freely. Well, in order to be at this point, you're going to have that handle digging into your palm pretty bad. And it makes for kind of an uncomfortable flip. I won't lie. It is. It's rather uncomfortable for me anyway. I really don't like short handles that much. But it just, like I said, it really digs in. And after 20-30 minutes of flipping, your hands are worn out. That little spot on your palm is pretty well rubbed, and your hands are tired. All right, and that and the fact that it's so short, if you get your little clearance spot, this little T-latch, your palm will push it up, and when you go to turn it, it'll just stall right there. And in some instances, I've actually had the entire knife go flying out of my hand because of the momentum of that little latch grabbing onto my palm, and it just rips it right out of my hand like that. It's gone. And anyway, but with the short handles and all that weight that's in this, the whopping 6.39 ounces, I mean, that becomes, after that, I'm not even scared of the blade. I'm just scared of this thing hitting me. It hurts when it hits you. It really does. It hurts a lot when it hits you. Let alone the blade itself, which we'll go ahead and we'll get onto that now too. The blade, it comes so wicked sharp. I was shaving hairs with this knife. You cannot have a heavy knife that sharp. You just can't. That sharp, and with this short of handles, that, like I said, that little point there where you want to have your hands, and you want to have it to where you get that clearance to really fan or to twirl. Well, with this, you gotta seriously be careful. With how wicked sharp that blade is and how short these handles are, you can really get cut by this thing. I mean, it'll scrape skin as it goes by. I got some really wicked nasty cuts with this thing. That's why eventually, after about a month of just ugly cuts and terrible mishaps with this knife, I had to shave the blade. It no longer cuts. Which, I'm not gonna be like, send it back to Benchmade and demand a refund because they didn't give me a sharp knife. That's just crappy. But anyway, this, I believe that this knife could have been so much more. I mean, with this Zen pins construction, on paper, it looked nice until I saw that handle length, and I realized how short it was. I mean, the shortness and the weight of it are just, they really compromise the overall design of this knife. You can't have short balisongs with that much weight and that wicked sharp. It just does not make for a good knife. It really doesn't. And it's sad because it is a beautiful knife. That's another pro I forgot to mention. A very beautiful knife. It is. Oh man, when I opened that box and I saw that finish on the handles and that satin on the blade, oh man, I was losing my mind. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. But Anyway, back to the cons, unfortunately. These handles, the overall texture of the handles really isn't that bad. It really isn't that bad. The overall texture isn't, but these corners, I think they could have rounded them off just a pinch more. Because mine came to me, they weren't sharp corners like some knives I have gotten, that like the corners, you have to worry more about the corners of the knife than you have to worry about the edge itself. But the corners of the handle than you do the blade edge itself. But I mean, it like I said, when twirling or fanning, it's kind of rough. I don't know. It just doesn't give you that smooth feeling that you want whenever you're flipping a knife. It's almost how would you put it? No, not feng shui. Feng shui, yeah, never mind. Anyway, so back to what we were talking about. This and another con, the T-latch. As time has gone on, I have used this knife, like I said, for about 2 months now, and it's actually I've worn it past the point. It's supposed to be kind of flat out here, but it is not. And so whenever the knife opens and closes, if that T-latch is in the way, it will actually catch that knife. And I'm not applying pressure here. All right, now watch. Here, let's flip it over. It's a lot worse. Here. Hear that? That is the tip of this knife just colliding with that. See that clearance? It's just not quite enough. It really isn't. It is just not quite enough. And that is after a lot of wear. And I've used this knife quite a bit. I've gotten cut by it quite a bit. I've really bonded with this knife, I won't lie. Which is why I'm probably never going to let it go. It'll probably be a permanent part of my collection. But anyway, that and another con with the little T-latch, you have to take apart this entire handle in order to get to this latch and to remove it, which is why I never took it apart. Because, and I'll tell you why I didn't take it apart to take out that latch. Because it is red Loctited in these pins. This knife is the closest thing to impossible to get apart. In these pins right here, it's almost like super glued in there. You can just forget about it. All right. The only way you can really get it apart is if you, I believe you have to apply some sort of heat to this in order to break up that red Loctite. And I'm not small by any means. I'm not impressively strong, but I'm not small either. And these things are really hard to get off. So I left them alone, and I just left that latch on there. I even tried rubber banding it at one point, but all my rubber bands kept breaking, so I just kind of left it the way it was. But yeah, it's not that great. I just don't like the way they made this latch, the way they put it in there. The only thing that's good about this latch is the locking construction, and how it really holds tight. I mean, that's the only real pro about this thing. But anyway, another thing with a latch, if it's down like this, it really collides with that handle, like really, really, really bad. Not gonna lie, it'll actually, if you squeeze it like that, it'll actually hold there. See, after it has worn down, it'll just get down into that little, and you have to go like that if you really want it to loosen up. Another problem, don't know if you can see it, the handle, you can see how this one, it almost looks like it has a worse finish than this one. That's not a finish, those are scratches from my latch. While I flip it, this thing just flops everywhere. It really does. it flops everywhere, and it really beats up this. It really beats up this handle. Like you can see, kind of scratched up there. Whenever you lock it, it really beats up this handle. I mean, you know, like I said, it's not an awful knife, but it could have been done much better. Really could have. But anyway, yep, that's I think that just about covers it all. Everything I wanted to say. Anyway, but this is my review on the model 63/60X series Balisong from Benchmade. And these are my personal opinions after flipping it for about 2.5 months. So anyway, wait on my channel. If you subscribe, I should be posting a review on the Blue Morpho from Blade HQ after this one. And anyway, thanks for watching. Bye!